When Adam and Eve's offspring in the early Old Testament turned out to be incredibly wicked, God was filled with sorrow and sadness for having created them. He vowed to annihilate every living thing on earth, including people and animals. However, Noah, the son of Lamech and ninth in descent from Adam, was the only person to find favor with God, who was a decent man and faultless in his generation. God revealed to Noah his plans to annihilate the planet, saying, Genesis chapter 6 verses 14 to 21. So make yourself an ark of cypress wood. Make rooms in it and coat it with pitch inside and out. Verse 15. This is how you are to build it. The ark is to be 300 cubits long, 50 cubits wide and 30 cubits high. Verse 16. Make a roof for it, leaving below the roof an opening 1 cubit high all around. Put a door in the side of the ark and make lower, middle and upper decks. Verse 17. I am going to bring floodwaters on the earth to destroy all life under the heavens, every creature that has the breath of life in it. Everything on earth will perish. Verse 18. But I will establish my covenant with you, and you will enter the ark, you and your sons and your wife and your sons' wives with you. Verse 19. You are to bring into the ark 2 of all living creatures, male and female, to keep them alive with you. Verse 20. 2 of every kind of bird, of every kind of animal and of every kind of creature that moves along the ground will come to you to be kept alive. Verse 21. You are to take every kind of food that is to be eaten and store it away as food for you and for them. When Noah was 600 years old, the ark was complete because he followed God's instructions. Along with his family, he entered it 2 at a time with pairs of every kind of animal. The earth experienced a flood 7 days later, followed by 40 days and 40 nights of non-stop rain. Every breathing creature perished as the waters rose higher and higher across the surface of the world until even the highest mountain peaks were submerged. The ark finally came to rest on top of Mount Ararat after 150 days when the Lord sent a powerful wind over the planet, causing the seas to subside. Noah released a dove. When the dove didn't appear, Noah opened the ark's roof to discover that the ground was no longer covered with water. What was the first thing Noah did when he got out of the ark after God told him to bring his family and all the creatures out? He created an altar for God and offered him a sacrifice in gratitude for his provision. God then vowed to never again flood the planet, and as a symbol of this agreement with people, he placed a rainbow in the sky. What we can learn from Noah. The storyline of Noah and the flood is one of judgment and salvation, as well as of obedience and disobedience. Noah stood out in a time of tremendous depravity by choosing to live morally. When no deluge had yet been witnessed on earth, Noah was probably made fun of for building a massive boat, but he didn't care. He merely moved his hands and heart in obedience to God's directions. For his righteousness and obedience, God rewarded him, sparing his family as well as himself from disaster. The story of the flood also serves to highlight the seriousness of God's justice as well as the assurance of his deliverance. Every sin we commit offends God, and his justice requires that we pay a price for it. God provides salvation for each of his believers through Christ, just as he did for Noah and his family when he pronounced judgment on the earth. Noah must have questioned the wisdom of God's plan because a global flood seems like a very harsh punishment. God, however, had a timeless scheme in mind. He loved the world enough to step in despite knowing that the earth's sinful condition was devastating. In the end, his plan made it possible for people like you and me to find salvation. Even though we don't comprehend God's ways, we must have faith in Him because He sees the broader picture. Although we won't always agree with God's actions, we may nevertheless put our trust in Him. Even if the rest of the world thinks we're insane, we can obey God. Speaking about things that are difficult to comprehend, Noah had to deal with a lot of resistance. People must have been cruel and ridiculed as he constructed a big ark, considering that it had never rained as much as God had said. However, God praised Noah for obeying and sticking to what he believed to be right. We are aware that God rewards our obedience to Him even when it necessitates holding beliefs and taking actions that the world will not fully comprehend. We as Christians believe the Bible to be entirely accurate. We also accept that there was once a worldwide flood. We believe in a loving God who cared enough about creation to send animals inside the ark to protect Noah and his family, as well as to warn, instruct, and protect them. God is capable of far more than we realize, anticipate, or even comprehend. That still holds true of Him today as it did back then. He was able to do it for Noah, and He can do it for you. If you like this message from God, please subscribe for more content. Thank you.